Today, we're going to crack open one of the most influential texts ever written, Sunzi's The Art of War. Now, this book is 2,500 years old, but its lessons on strategy are so sharp, they're still taught everywhere, from military academies to business schools. But what if its biggest lesson isn't really about war, but about how to avoid it completely?
Just let that sink in for a second. This is the central kind of mind-bending question that Sunzi puts right on the table. He's challenging our whole idea of what it means to win. He suggests that true mastery isn't about being the best fighter, but about being so smart, so strategic, that you never even have to throw a punch.
So, why are we still so obsessed with this ancient text? Well, it's because it's this timeless playbook that has been guiding everyone from emperors and generals to modern-day CEOs for centuries. And to really get why it's so powerful, we have to look way beyond the battlefield.
See, Sunzi's whole point is that this book isn't really about swords and shields. It's about the mind. It's a philosophy for how to handle any kind of conflict. Whether it's a big corporate negotiation or just a personal disagreement. It's all about using your wits and insight instead of just raw power.
Sunzi does not mess around. For him, understanding strategy isn't some academic game. No, it's about survival. The stakes are as high as they possibly get. Get it right and you're safe. But one miscalculation, that leads straight to ruin. And that's exactly why his advice is so direct and so powerful.
Okay, so this brings us right to the first major pillar of Sunzi's strategy. And it's this idea that any battle is actually won or lost long before it ever begins. It all comes down to the homework you do, the preparation, and the cold, hard facts you can gather beforehand. Right here, Sunzi makes it crystal clear that winning isn't about luck or just being brave on the day of. It's the direct result of all the thinking you did in the quiet moments leading up to it. More calculations, he says, equals victory. Fewer calculations, well, that leads to defeat. It's almost like he's giving us a mathematical formula for success. So what are these calculations he's talking about? He actually gives us a 5-point checklist. First up, the moral law. Are your people, your team, truly on board with your mission? Second, heaven. Is the timing right? Are the external conditions in your favor? Third, earth. Do you totally understand the landscape you're operating in? Fourth, the commander. Are you, as the leader, wise and credible and courageous? And finally, method. Is your whole operation disciplined and organized? If you can't say a confident yes to all 5, you're simply not ready. And this all boils down to one of his most famous strategic equations. The logic is so simple, but so powerful. If you know yourself and your opponent, you're golden. You'll win every time. But if you only know yourself, it's a coin toss. You might win, you might lose. And if you know neither, forget about it. You've already lost. Self-awareness is just as important as knowing your competition.
All right, so all of this preparation, all this calculation, it's all building towards the most profound, the most game-changing idea in the entire book. And there it is. That's the mic drop moment. The ultimate goal isn't just to win the fight, it's to make the fight totally unnecessary. Supreme excellence, the highest level of skill, is when you achieve your goal so masterfully through your positioning, your psychology, your planning, that your opponent's will to even fight just crumbles before anything even starts.
Sunzi even lays out a clear ranking of strategies. The absolute best-case scenario, the most elegant solution, is to foil the enemy's plans before they even get off the ground. Next best is to stop them from forming alliances. And then way, way down the list, basically considered a failure of imagination, is direct fighting, like attacking an army or surrounding a city. So, okay, if you're not supposed to fight head-on, what are you supposed to do? Well, the answer is kind of simple and really complex all at once. You have to master the art of deception. 4 simple words, but those 4 words are the absolute foundation of his entire tactical system. It's not about who has the bigger army. It's about who controls the story, who shapes the reality inside the enemy's mind. Here's a classic example. If you're right there, ready to strike, you have to project this image of being distant and totally non-threatening. This tricks your opponent into a false sense of security, and that creates the exact opening you need. Or how about this one? Act confused, disorganized, chaotic. Let your opponent think you're an easy target. Let them come charging in, and once they've gone too far, that's when you reveal your true strength and discipline. And this is just pure psychological warfare. An arrogant opponent is sloppy, They're predictable. By playing on their ego, you can actually lead them into making the very mistakes that will guarantee their own defeat. But here's the thing. None of these tactics work if you have a rigid, unchanging plan. Sunzi uses this incredible metaphor of water. Water doesn't have a fixed shape, right? It just adapts to whatever is holding it. He says a strategist has to be just like that, fluid, able to avoid the enemy's strengths and flow right towards their weaknesses.
So the big question is, how do we take these 2,500-year-old ideas and actually use them today? Well, it turns out they're an incredibly powerful guide for navigating the complexities of our modern world.
Let's wrap this up with 5 timeless rules for any leader. First off, have the wisdom to know when to engage and when to just step back. Second, know how to manage different-sized forces or teams effectively. Third, build a unified culture where everybody is pulling in the same direction. Fourth, prepare like crazy so you're always ready to jump on an opportunity the second your opponent is unprepared. And finally, have the authority to lead without someone constantly looking over your shoulder. These are the keys to victory on any field.
And that brings us to the final question, and this one's for you to think about. In your own challenges, your own battles at work or in life, are you just rushing in headfirst? Or are you taking a lesson from the master and doing the real work first, making all those critical calculations long before the battle is ever fought?